You're listening to Your Worst Friend, Going Deeper, Season 2. Here are your hosts, Shane and Matt.
All right, today we have with us Aria Carson. You can follow Aria at Aria X Carson on Instagram, on Twitter, the Aria Carson, and if you want access to like all of her really cool fun stuff and whatever else, you can go to ariacarson.com. Also check the episode description for links to all the fun things she's doing. She's gonna be in she's nominated for a bunch of stuff. We're gonna try and get her nominated for a bunch of stuff. We really need to push people out there and get them to vote for that stuff. Okay. Aria, how are you today?
I am doing great. How are you?
Whatever. I'm fine. I'm tired, really tired. Shane, how are you?
My dog shit on my ankle like a half hour ago. It wasn't very cool.
Well, let's keep it sexy. Tell us more about this, please.
Oh, I didn't let him out when he was letting me know, so he let me know.
Oh, okay. All right. We always start off with the first question. Basically, you've worked in porn for a couple years now, but it always seems like, even just a couple years in, there's tons of scenes people have done. How did you get your start in the industry? And why did you decide to make that jump? We talked to a lot of girls who worked in either sex shops or were stripping or this and that. What is the jump one takes? What is the jump you take from that to actually, let's put this out to the public?
So my jump was kind of complicated. So I'm from Seattle, Washington, and born and raised, and I had moved over to Eastern Washington, and I wanted to visit my friend in Western Washington to say happy 18th birthday. Let's go to the strip club. And so we went to the strip club in June of like 2017. And the girls there were super nice. And they're like, oh, here's some applications, apply for a waitress job or maybe be a stripper. And I was like, oh, my boyfriend would kill me. No way, no way. So I ended up breaking up with that boyfriend, moved back home, and did exactly that. I became a waitress at a strip club in October of 2017 when I was 18, right before I turned 19. And I was waitressing from October to end of December when I decided I'm going to start stripping because I had gotten in a car accident and need to pay my rent. I started dancing. And then started working at Home Depot as well. And I just got tired of it.
That's a good
career. I was like, okay, I'm going to go pop some pussy.
Okay. That's, if I had one, I'd do it too. Unfortunately, nobody wants a guy in his 30s with an average at best size dick. Here was my question to you. You were working at a strip club and Home Depot at the same time. Was it a big town or a small town? Like, would you ever see any of your coworkers come in when you were doing that, or no?
No. So I worked in, let's see. I first worked in Tequila before they shut that club down. And then when I started working at Home Depot, I believe I was dancing in Seattle. And this was like, on occasion, because I was working like over 40 hours a week and going to school online and AP classes and all that stuff. So I would go dance like a night a week or something like that, or a few nights a week whenever I felt like it. And I was in Issaquah 30, 40 minutes, depending like on traffic. So no, not really, but I did have this one guy that I used to dance for like a year prior to working at Home Depot at the Tequila Club that would come in with this like, I forgot what it was, like a Firebird looking thing. And I noticed the car outside and I was like, what the fuck? Like that looks real familiar. And then I saw him with his girlfriend walking around the store trying to steal actually at Home Depot. So I was like, oh, okay. But that's like the only time where it's been like, but I don't think he noticed.
It's funny. Yeah, there's I'm in New Jersey. There's a club in Philly. And I remember one time we went for this kid's 21st birthday or something like that. He was younger than us. And I saw this girl I went to elementary school with at a fully nude club. Let me tell you, she wasn't the hottest girl in the world. There is something, Shane, I think you'll agree.
In elementary school, she wasn't.
No, as an adult, she also wasn't. It doesn't matter, though. There's something, and we've talked about this on the regular show before. There's something, it kicks it up like 3 bars when you're talking about somebody in real life when you
Oh,
see
yeah.
them either doing porn or doing this or doing that. And
Just sucking a cock in an alleyway, I think is that'll do it for me. Like, oh, I remember her from the play. We were Romeo and Juliet, and now she's like,
now she's got
you're
dumpster,
Cassius,
dumpster juice on her knees. Okay, all right. So let me ask you this then. What is the jump then? Who got you into it? Did you decide to reach out to a production company? Did you decide to reach out to an agent? Did you submit it to one of those modeling companies? And how long from when you submitted that to when you shot your first scene?
So I had a Twitter. I think I started like January 2019, I think it was. Yeah, when I started my Twitter, and I still lie 2019, and I started talking to agencies in May of 2019. So January, got my Twitter. May, started applying to agencies after being contacted by an agency or two, but I wasn't interested in those agencies. So I was, I wasn't even interested in porn at all, actually, because I was like, oh, weird, porn, like, didn't even think of it, didn't even think of it.
gross.
And so they had, yeah, I was like, oh, okay, like that's weird. I didn't
You want me to
think about
put
it like that.
what in
And so
where?
they in my who? Yeah, exactly. And I was just like, I don't know. So I was like, okay, fine, I'll try it. So from May to about July, I was applying at places like different agencies, and I had a dog at the time, and I had like moved into my dad's house, and my dad didn't want the dog inside. So she was outside on like one of those leash things, and I threw the ball not knowing her leash was around my leg, and it like put a big gash in my leg.
Ooh.
So that for me to get an agent like really hard, because I was going through a good like 2-3 months of a deep gash in my leg, and they were just like, we can't shoot you.
Wow.
So
Gangrenous
yeah,
or
that
like
no
it's
God,
disturbing.
just like a plastic leash out in the 100 and something
Ooh.
degree weather being snapped against my leg by a
Ugh.
pit bull. So I
Yeah,
love
no
them to
dogs.
death. I have cats now. I have 3 cats. So
There you go. Yeah, that's smart. You don't have to worry about them running away. Now, watch one scratch you, knock on wood, it doesn't happen, scratch you on the face, and then you have to start doing some, oh, look at that. See? Yeah. There's yeah, I have a cat too. I love
Wait
cats.
till they eat your eyes out in the middle of the night.
Yeah. Yeah. That happens. Okay. All right. So do you remember what was the first scene you actually shot?
Yeah, my first scene was for Team Ski. It was called Orthodontic Pleasures because I had braces in my mouth. So corny.
Ow.
But yeah, I was supposed to be working with Lucas Frost, but something happened, so he wasn't able to make it to set. So when I showed up to set, I had just been told, hey, your male talent's not there. And it was Ryan King, who is like fucking this MILF on the couch when I walked in. And they're like, oh yeah, this guy is gonna be working with you. And I was like, okay, cool. So at least, I'm not that nervous. So that was my first scene, just some good old brace face porn.
I noticed that.
I like when they have the whole headgear on, when it like wraps around their head, and if it extends down to their shoulders, like a neck and head brace to keep them completely immobile, like a car accident patient, that's really good.
That's hot.
Yeah.
Hot stuff. What I was gonna ask was, did you need those braces, or were you just tightening up everything you had? Because look, I have never had braces, never had retainer. It's the only good part of my body.
Teeth.
I have decent eyes too, but never had them. So did you have, all due respect, your teeth are beautiful now. Did you have like pretty jacked up teeth before you had the braces?
No, honestly, like my teeth right now, they've moved back, so they were kind of a little worse than this, but it was just very small things, like a little bit of these 2 teeth go over each other a little bit, and because my dumbass, I was living with someone we were not on good terms, and she didn't want to tell me when my retainer came in and ended up throwing it away. So I didn't get my retainer in time, and yeah, and then I when I got a new retainer, I ended up not wearing it because I kept pulling it out, and so my teeth kind of went back a little bit. But no, they weren't fucked up at all.
Okay.
I just my parents didn't want to pay for them when I was younger, so I decided I'm gonna do it. But now I kind of regret doing it because it was.
Because what? Wait, you cut out for me there. What happened? Why do you regret doing it?
It's expensive as shit.
Oh, okay. All right. How? That's rough. Okay. Did they help you at all in the adult industry though? Because there's always the hey, let's make this girl look as young as possible and this and that. We interviewed way before your time. We interviewed a porn star from the early 2000s. Her name was Gage, and Gage looked 18 until she was about 35, and I think that's why she consistently got so much work. So was there times when the braces either kept you from a job or maybe pushed you over the limit and they were like, oh shit, you got braces on that, you're in?
Well, like 99% of the time it was like, yeah, braces, that's hot, sadly appealing to that nasty side, nasty fet. But I did have one person say, oh, she has braces, never mind, she's gonna cut my ass if she eats it. And I was just like, okay, interesting. It's the only time.
I assume you knew you were going to be eating ass for that scene.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, but I'm like, I'm not gonna I'm not fucking grilling you out.
Oh, I gotta tell my wife to stop doing that. That's what always happens. It's always just a grind, like a side to side grind, and it
That's
always
how I
hurts.
like my dick sucked too. Yeah, just like take your teeth and grate it. Like you're trying to shred some Parmesan.
Corn on the cob.
Yeah, that's how I eat corn on the cob. Yeah, I just grind my teeth against it.
Shane, what do you got? You got any questions?
How do you guys eat corn on the cob?
Okay.
Am I wrong?
I don't.
No,
I've developed a fear over the last 5 years of eating apples and corn on the cob. I keep having dreams that I'm going to bite into something and my front two teeth are going to snap off. I think that means I'm dying. I love the face I got. See, that's what happens most of the time when I actually take my clothes off. That's the face I get from women, like my wife and other people. But that was just her fear of me snapping my teeth off and holding them in my hand going, oh, Shane,
man.
question? Go ahead.
Have you ever broken a tooth? I'm asking you, Matt.
Oh,
because
no.
you said that. Oh, okay.
No,
because it's one of my worst fears too, is to break a tooth, and I'm wondering if there's a whole market of porn for that now. Just like broken tooth bitches, just like corn cobbing your dick with their cheese grater teeth.
I don't think so. No. Go ahead.
No, I guess my favorite serious question to always come back to is like why you stick to the industry. I mean, you mentioned that you initially hesitated. You didn't want to do adult film or whatever. So what pushed you into that? And then what makes you stay? Is it the money side, or is it the exposure side, or is it the thrill? Like, what's keeping you locked into that career?
I would say it's kind of like a roller coaster. When I was young, it was the thrill of getting out of town, getting away from my parents, moving cities, having my own place, getting my own cats. And then when you're at the top and you feel like you've hit your height, and then, it's like it comes a job to you, it's just another job for me. So it's not the thrill of it anymore. It's not even so much the people for me anymore, because at first it was the people. And I still love the people. I do my own thing. I like to make more of my own content. I like to work with more professional companies now. So I don't do as lot as like content with men. You'll see that it's kind of a new trend. Like women like to do more content with women. And so it's more the money, probably the money, and just the ability to live in LA, because it's expensive out here.
Yeah, no shit.
Yeah. Shane,
but definitely like the money.
Okay. All right. So let me ask you, what was the difference you had as far as expectations coming in? Like, did you come into it going, And I think most people who are not in the industry consider this, and then people who work in the industry go, fuck you. It is the polar opposite. What is the difference between your expectation when you came in versus actually working in the industry based on how much work is involved in all of this? Like, you know, most people are like, I show up on set, fuck some guy, go home with X amount of money.
That's what I'm looking to do. Just fuck a dude and take off, you know?
Sure.
Gay porn is always hiring.
Yeah, when I was in the Marines, my wife had this gay friend, and he recognized a dude on base once who was a performer in gay porn, and he went up to him at the PX, which is like the little store on base, like a convenience store we have on base, and he was like, "Are you so and so?" I don't remember the guy's name, but he called him by his porn name, and the guy was like, "Hey, don't fucking say that. I could get kicked out of the military for if anybody finds out, you know." And I'm pretty sure he told on him. Just got him kicked out of the military because he was like a really prissy, like vindictive, just like an old, just like, I don't care.
Hag.
I just want to fucking ruin everybody's day. You know, he was that kind of gay. So I'm pretty sure he told on that guy and got him thrown out.
That's fucked up.
Yeah, it was fucked up. But yeah, we watched him. We watched him get plowed in the ass. It was definitely him.
And it was hard work, I assume, right?
Oh,
Looked like hard work.
He was working, I assume, just as hard as or harder than he did in boot camp. Yeah.
God bless.
So what were you, again, what is the difference in expectation between what you went in with and then when you left your first scene going, fuck, I didn't know it was going to take that long. I didn't know this and that. Like, is it as hard as it's made out to be by different porn stars sometimes? Or is it maybe they're being a little hyperbolic? It's a little more easy, but nowhere near as easy as people outside of the industry think.
It's kind of one of those things where it's like each person to their own because of like a look. So how you look really determines how you get treated in this industry. And of course your fan base and your, you know, if the people like you and they like your look and you get hooked on fast, that's what they like. And so a lot of people, you know, they do expect you to just go in and blow up, and that some girls, that's how it works. I expected to just come in, do my job, go home. I honestly didn't expect anything because I knew I was going to get let down, but I did not expect for it to be such hard social media work. There's days I don't want to get on my Twitter, and there's literally, it will feel like 2 hours, but it'll be 3 days where I haven't checked my Twitter, and I'll have people in my DMs yelling at me. I'm like, sorry, like I have a life, you know?
Wow. Yeah. So, I mean,
That's the hardest thing.
So you shoot the scene, you're done with it, and then you instantly become a social media manager for like a Fortune 1000 company where you're just producing all your own, you know, pumping out shit and whatever. How many different photo apps do you have on your phone?
That's a really good question.
Different, you don't actually have to check.
Okay.
I mean, do you have like different ones with different filters? And
How
you're
about
like,
this? How many folders
We
of
can,
photo
like-
apps do you have?
I have blur photo for my nipples for like Instagram and stuff like that.
Fucking
I
fascist
have
rules they've got on
Facetune too.
Instagram.
I know I have Facetune things zit on my face, but that's about it. And then I have like this one, I think it's called like Pixel or something, but that's just for like background video editing. I forgot what the fuck it's called. It's like starts with a P, but it like can put like frosted glass or something like that on top of your picture. You know,
You
some
know, I
cool,
think
like,
I think
stuff
I
like
have that app too. I think
Prequel.
yeah, I think I left it
Prequel.
on once when I was editing a video. Like for like it was supposed to like blur out eyes, and then I like left it on accidentally when I was editing another video, and it was blurring out like everything that it thought was eyes. So like nipples, eyes, like a freckle, like there were just all these random like black bars or blur
Holes.
spots popping up. And I was like, this is a pretty cool app, you know?
Yeah, I have this one. It's like it's got all the different filters and stuff
Okay.
on it.
Okay.
Oh, that's way more
Cool.
high tech than mine. Mine was
Yeah.
mostly in Arabic writing.
Oh, Jesus.
So wait, let me ask you, can't you find, now look, I'm too old. I turned 34 last month. So I don't know if this term applies. Can't you find some like little fuckboy 22-year-old kid that wants to be involved in the industry to just do all your social media for you? Pay him $1,000 a month?
And it's really complicated because people don't want to just sit from the sidelines. Like these guys, the amount of guys that email me and in my DMs, how do I become a porn star? If I talk to a guy on Tinder or something, which I've tried and it's never worked out because these guys are annoying as fuck. They're like, oh, that's cool. Well, if you're making money, like I can get them past the like, you need to sign documents. I need this, like, you know. But then they'll be like, oh, if you're making money, I should make money. Are you gonna give me cut? Are you gonna give me this? Are you gonna give me that? I'm like, bro, you can make your own OnlyFans and do that shit. Because
Yeah.
I'm not gonna, you know, no one taught me how to do everything, so I'm not gonna do that for you.
I'll tell you what to tell to these dudes. I'll tell you how to solve that real quick. They ask you, well, how do I be a porn star? Step one, cut your cock off. Have all these dudes chopping their cocks off and then be like, oh, you know, that was a joke. You know?
No, I should tell them they have to stick like an 8-inch dildo up their ass, like verification.
That's verification. That's like, you
Just
know, Twitter
leave
is
it
their
there.
verification. Yeah.
Forever.
Okay, so I did definitely word that wrong because I think you took it like, hey, why don't you just get your talent from here? What I'm saying is you need to find yourself a nerd, okay? Some nerd that just likes being in your aura. You don't actually have to do anything with him. He just comes over every day. You're like, hi, Aria, how are you? And you like show him a titty. And he's like, wow, I'm hard now. And you're like, okay. So anyway, I need 6 posts on Instagram today. I need 3 on Twitter. And if you can update the website, that would be great. And he's like, yeah, not a problem. I can do that for you. And then you just promise him like, you know, hey, I'm going to take a shower at some point. I won't put all my clothes on in there. I'll walk by you. I'll be like, cool, thanks. And you pay him $1,000 a month.
I'll go stand outside the window.
Your fucking job is done. There's your social media taken care of. You don't need some guy online to make content. You need a nerd. Take some of that stress away from your life. Imagine that. Imagine you've already said the shooting the scenes isn't the stressful part. It's the social media part. Now let's remove the social media part too. Like keep you on social media, but less of you having to do it.
It's hard to find nerds. It's hard. I mean, if there's someone who wants to do it, but I'm not gonna pay you. I'm sorry, but I'm sorry. If you're gonna be obsessed with me, if you're gonna want to look at me naked or whatever, that's your reward.
Well, here's the thing.
No,
I think
that's your reward.
My problem is a lot of people had obsessed fans, and that ended with John Lennon getting shot in the back. So you don't want that. You don't want obsessed.
Yeah.
Yeah. What you want, what you want is just a nerd who's gonna produce stuff for you.
I think those nerds did exist in excess, but a lot of them got I guess like taken or brainwashed by the incels. So there were a lot of ready, willing, able nerds, but they got kind of like swept up in this whole like woman hating nerd group, the subculture of nerds that just hates women really, really, really bad.
I'm not defending incels here at all by any stretch of the imagination. Plus we've talked about it, Shane. Most of our listeners are Capitol rioters. So what I would say, I love that face.
That was a good one.
It's not true.
Screen cap that for later.
It's not true. But I think all those incels just need to see a couple of titties and a vag once and they're out of it. They're just like, you know what? Chicks are pretty cool. Chicks are pretty cool.
I think she could be the bridge. She could bridge like the gap, you know, like take the incels back to just being nerds.
Sure.
You could be the first one, like have this like incel, like nerd Instagram manager.
Sure.
You set an example and then more will follow. And then all these incel ragers will come back to just being like, you know, docile, little obedient, subservient nerd slaves.
Subs.
Yeah, that's a nice way of putting it. Shane and I call them nerd slaves. Is what we really like to do. Shane, let me take it in a different direction. I have more of a serious question for you, but I want to go into this question saying we fully support porn. We love porn. We have no problem with porn. I just thought of this today, and it's a little bit strange how I put this together in my head. So every girl we've talked to so far has been, very much about, like, the industry nowadays is about consent. It's awesome that you guys consent. It seems like porn is always at the forefront of what's next, whether it's trans people, putting them in stuff, or this and that, right? And I wonder, and I'm not making this political at all, but I wonder how it clashes somewhat with a little bit of woke ideology. And here's the assessment I made. So you were in a shoplifter.com scene, right? Which is, for people who don't know and people who don't subscribe, I'll give you my password. Basically what it is, a girl gets caught shoplifting. She gets pulled in the back with a security guard. Security guard's like, hey, if you want to get out of this, boom, touch my dick. It's like, oh, I didn't mean to steal this bucket of grapes. And you're like, oh, it's okay. Two questions. One, wouldn't it be easier to just pay the fine? Two, my question here is, okay, and
Sorry.
this is more serious. And again, I'm not asking you to speak for the entire porn industry or anything like that. And this is not an indictment of the porn industry, but when it comes to things like step sibling blackmailing scenes or the shoplifter type scenes, isn't there an argument you could be made that in the new terms we use with consent, those are power dynamics that are almost contrary to the wokeness or the progressiveness of porn, where you could say, hey, this stepbrother is using this blackmail video to get sex out of it. Do you, obviously I understand it's all acting and it's all actually consensual and shit like that, but have you ever considered that before, and have you ever thought of that before? Because this is the first time it's popped in my head ever in my one of my 34, so 20 years of watching porn. I don't know. I just thought it was an interesting thing to bring up. Sorry, I killed the mood.
Yeah,
No,
what
you're
a
good.
fucking boner killer.
So I guess let me ask you a question about your question.
Sure.
Because I'm a little confused. Are you asking?
I don't know what I'm asking.
What I? Yeah. What are you asking? What I think about, like, the woke culture and consent nowadays, and then the step sibling stuff in porn?
No, more just, isn't it kind of interesting that porn seems so progressive? And I say progressive is different than woke, because I think woke takes a lot of progressive things and almost pushes them up to 11. Like, it really maxes them out and says this and that. So my question more is, have you ever considered the scenario I laid out there? And I don't have a problem with it. I assume Shane has no problem with it. He's watched some horrific shit. But
I watch beheading porn mostly.
Good. Have you ever considered that before? Have you ever thought about it in that way?
I mean, yeah. I mean, everyone on set, no one on set is like, oh yeah, like let's fucking do this blackmail stepsister shit. Like, we're all like, okay, can we fucking get this over
Sure.
with? Like, literally. Like, and we all, like we said, there is consent, because we are all given lines that we have to say, like,
Sure.
oh yes, I want it. Yes, stepbrother, give it to me. Like, all that shit. I do think it's weird thing to do. There are porn stars that have taken stances, I won't do it, and I respect them completely.
Sure.
But it's hard out here for a bitch. You gotta make some money sometimes.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because, like, how I see it, and this could be real controversial, and I'm not trying to be controversial, but it's like, as a woman, like, I'm either gonna, I don't know, like, make money off my body or be looked at in one way off my body. So do I want to make the money off of it? But not all money is good money. So it's like, it has its good days and it has its bad days. I'm not saying everyone should join the world, but it's not the worst thing in the world.
Sure.
It's just, there are days, yeah, you're right, that it's like, oh my goodness, am I true to myself? This is kind of weird, but it's just a job, like,
sure,
anything else.
Totally. And
yeah,
and
so I kind of look at it that way.
Sure. Yeah. I always think, I think about how progressive porn is, and yet again, we are not political. We're not making a political point on this. I'm not doing that. And yet at the same time, there's plenty of language policing in the world, who would say, you know, porn is so progressive. They've worked with trans people in the past, and yet they still use the term tranny in a lot of titles. And there's like an interesting clash there where it's like, hey, and I think it's what we broke down last season, Shane. Okay, Shane's got one. Here we go. Something about a beheading.
No. I did have a line about euthanizing monkeys in response to something she said, but I'll save it for later. No. So you said it in your little thesis there, that porn is at the forefront of wokeness. That porn has always been more progressive. Porn has always had almost like this power position of always having the right stance by being so inclusive of everyone, because porn is the most taboo thing, right? So what it is that language policing itself is the issue, okay?
Sure.
And porn, where they're still calling people tranny, that might be wrong, okay? But
by the language policing standard, that might be wrong. Sure.
Yeah, but another thing too is like, I feel like porn has continued to set the example by evolving with, like, when we talked to Sara Jay about the tags for ebony and black or whatever. Was that Sara Jay we talked to?
Sara Jay was BBC. She didn't include Avery Jane was ebony, where she said she understood it, but she is not really interested in interjecting any kind of race into the industry.
So I mean the culture of the industry is growing, just like everything grows, but I think as it grows with the world, it continues to be at the forefront of the most inclusive and most wokest people and minds that there are, for lack of a better word. Just because it is the most taboo thing, you know?
Sure.
I would say that porn is the most inclusive thing in the world if you are skinny, blonde, and white. That is the most inclusive thing in the
My
world.
search history would beg to differ.
I mean, like, that's just coming from my perspective.
Sure.
I mean, and how I've seen other coworkers explain how they feel. It's interesting because it's like porn is this thing that we all do essentially. We all have sex in some way with ourselves, in our minds, with other people, whatever. And it's like everyone knows it's there, but it's kind of like the dark web. No one wants to talk about it. That's why it's like when people get into porn, that's why I think, from my opinion, and my opinion is very subjective, that's why it looks so inclusive, because you see all these categories. But like we were saying with the policing of words, there's a lot of words out there that are non-inclusive or inclusive. That it's kind of like there's words that have been used on me that I wouldn't use on myself. And stuff like that, because it's how different companies see you, you know what I mean, how they model you for their company, because you are just a model at the end of the day for however they're branding you.
You should go. Like, you should go speak with Sara Jay.
One day I'll be thick.
Yeah.
So what can I ask? What's one of those tags that you don't find appropriate for you, or didn't find appropriate at the time? You don't have to name who said that, but what was one?
Let me see. Let me see if there's one I can really think about.
You know what tag I would hate for myself? Frumpy. I would hate if they tagged me as frumpy. That would really bother me a lot. Or like unfuckable. That would upset me.
Yeah, I fucking hate to get homeless. Yeah.
For me, sometimes it's not even like the tag. It's more the title, like white bitch this, or like whore this, other girls on the same CD I'm on will be like, oh, pretty this and pretty that, and I'll just be like, oh, this whore that, and I'm like,
unloved trash. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm like, oh, okay.
Well, actually,
papers.
I'll come back to that because I wanted to talk about a scene you had done, and I think actually I might know where it is, and then we can cut that out if you don't want to talk about that. But just going back to one point you said something interesting about skinny, white, and young, or however it was. I would, on the whole, generally, I probably agree with you on that. I go, yeah, that's probably the most searched thing. Or nowadays, it would be like big ass is like one of the most searched things, right? But what I think is great, and it's going to lead into a question, is so many more women having so much more control over their content. You know, I understand the big players, the Bang Bros, the Ski, the whoever, are looking for, skinny white bitch, whatever it is, or big ass bitch, whatever it is. But do you
stupid bitch?
Jesus Christ. Do you have interest in getting behind the camera at all and directing for any of the bigger players? So that you could kind of put your stamp on that, or it's going to lead into another discussion about some friends we had and we interviewed before. Friends of ours are Dan and Suzanne Ferrari, who I believe you shot for with Slut Inspection, right? I think Suzanne is great because she told us on our episode they're bringing in bigger girls for their scenes. So she is now breaking that stereotype of skinny white girl, and they've had thicker girls on there and this and that. They're really awesome and they're phenomenal. Do you think it's good for the industry to break away from those things? Or do you think, no offense, I know this is what you've seen and you work in the industry, but from an outside perspective, I see more diversity than I've ever seen, just because there's so many new channels to be able to put this stuff out. Do you have a desire to get into the directing, the producing, or it sounds like you're kind of like me with my day job where you're like, man, fuck it, clock in, get your check, go home. But do you want to delve into more of that stuff? Really producing a lot of your own content and really making those big decisions for scenes?
Yes, for me and my own, for someone I work with, if I was to work with Sara Jay or something like that, which I have. I've worked with Sara Jay. She's really sweet.
Oh, cool. So
Yeah,
did you
I
get
would
to
love
pick
do that.
your tags?
No, I don't think I did. So yeah, I can pick my tags when I post it, but if she posts it in the video that she owns of us, she can pick her tags.
Okay, we're going to talk to her about that.
Yeah.
We're going to make sure everything is on the up and up, because if there's any tags associated with you that you don't like, we'll let her know.
Sara Jay likes to give the titles proper things. She wrote white bitch gets fucked by 3 people of color, where she goes, white girls, who cares, but let's just concentrate on the people of color. That was a joke because you said you didn't like being called a white bitch. I apologize for that joke. It was not well processed. Your scene was not actually named that, I don't believe.
White garbage.
Has sex with 3 beautiful African kings. No, okay, so you do want to get into more of that. You want to get into, let me ask you, is there a dollar amount cutoff where you walk away? Because I got to be honest with you, you sound just like me in terms of my job. I'll say that again, where if I had enough where I go, I don't need to live lavishly. Give me this amount every year. I'm done, bro. I'm not working ever again. Do you have that kind of thing? Is there a dollar amount where you go, Aria's good, Aria has left the building?
If I could get a steady 120 a year,
nice.
I'd be out this bitch.
Let me tell you.
Blow your head off.
No, I think she'd just retire, most likely, not blow her head off. Let me tell you, this is a discussion we can have offline. If you get $1.5 million, you can make 70 grand after taxes in dividend stocks. You never have to touch that 1.5, and it pays out to you 4 times a year, 70 grand divided by that. So 3 million gets you 140. Okay. And that's safe. I just want you to know that. Talk to a financial planner. If you get to 3 mil, you can make 140 a year just letting it sit. Okay, consider that. That's what I'm dreaming for. All right, that's
please.
Yes, there you go.
I don't know why we do this podcast anymore.
Why?
We could just put whatever assets and stuff we have in our little little magic account and live like kings.
Oh
in
yeah,
Nicaragua.
I'll move the 3 million I have just sitting under my mattress into it was silly me. It's just been sitting there the whole time.
Well, you need back support.
Do something about that.
Yeah.
All right, let me transition to something else here. You've shot a few different VR scenes, okay? Which is
Whoa.
interesting. I think it's the future, but from the
I
stuff,
love sci-fi.
the stuff
Yeah.
I've heard about VR scenes is it's great. It's so immersive, but there's a limited amount of content. And Shane, I don't know if you're like me when your wife's out of town. I need about 3 hours of perusing for about 2 minutes of tugging. So if I can't get 3 hours out of it,
You're
we
not
need to
edging yourself along the whole time?
the whole time. Yes, obviously.
Oh,
yes,
okay.
the
Well,
whole time.
that's the funnest part. Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah.
sure. Until it all starts to hurt real bad. The question is, what's the difference?
I like that.
What's the difference between shooting a standard scene and a VR scene? Is there much of a difference? Is it more like just a POV scene, or what are you doing that's different?
So like the VR scenes, I've done like 2 so far, and they are definitely harder for me right now because I literally just did 2 weeks ago. It was maybe a month, 3 weeks a month. You have to get like kind of closer to the camera because it's supposed to be like a person right there. And so sometimes, especially my last video, like the other girl had to help me to get closer to the camera, and I told her like push me, pull me, I don't care, because like it's so much different than having someone with a camera follow you versus you following the camera that's right there, an actual set of eyes versus I just have a camera box and I'm talking to the camera box, but no, I'm looking at 2 sets of little eyes. That
Totally
is
fair.
way different.
Totally
That's weird.
Yep. Okay. Do you have anything more
No,
on
it's
that?
just- No, it's just weird because I had a VR headset at my house for like months, and I ended eventually, maybe even closer to a year, and I eventually gave it back to the people who lent it to us at a Halloween party, and I never took advantage of this whole, fucking cyborg in virtual reality, So,
Yeah, I don't know that's how it's classified, but I do respect that's how you see it.
I mean, in my head, like if you're gonna do VR porn, it better be with a robot, right?
I don't think so. I don't think that's it.
It's the future. That's the whole point. It's like it's the future.
Couple more questions. We're gonna
You
wrap
fuck
up in a little
robots in the
bit. I
future.
don't. No one fucks robots in the future. They fuck robots in Westworld, not the future.
Well, I beg to differ.
How'd you come up with the name Aria Carson? Which you can follow on Instagram at Aria X Carson, on Twitter at the Aria Carson. Remember, Aria is ARIA, and go to ariacarson.com. So how'd you come up with that name?
So when I was a stripper, my name actually was Carson. Oh, I just picked the most random name. I was like, because all the girls wanted me to be named Daisy, and I was like, no thanks. So I took Carson as my stripper name, and then when I thought about doing porn, somebody I knew was like, Carson, like it's so unisex, you should make it a last name. And I was like, oh, okay, well, what's my first name supposed to be? And we were watching Pretty Little Liars, and one of my favorite characters, Aria, came on the screen, and I was like, that's it.
I kind of fell out of love with that show. It was really good at the beginning, but like by season 2, I was like, oh my God, why do they keep lying?
Running around the same storyline. I'm like, come on, who's A?
Yeah. Who the fuck was A? I didn't even make it to find out who A was.
I can't even remember. It's been so long, but I
spoilers,
think
audience.
Allison was alive or some shit. I don't know. It's been so long. It was like middle school when I watched.
Oh my God. Wow. I'm
Shane,
old.
I think I'm going to make this a standard question. All right, let me ask you this. You got to build your perfect guy. Now, I'm going to give you 3 traits. 2 of them are phenomenal, world-class, top of the top. 1 is like the bottom. Okay, it's terrible, and you can't get around it. Avery Jane was really smart last season. She tried to get around one of them, and we shut that shit down super quick. All right.
Yeah,
So
we didn't let that shit fly.
Here's the 3 traits. Perfect size dick. Now that can be whatever size you feel is perfect. A real big one, a normal sized one, I guess real big,
cap.
normal size, a mat sized one, which would be significantly smaller and kind of shriveled.
And then a cap.
Yeah, a cap. A perfect size dick, right? The ability to last as long as you want. Okay, so if you want to go for an hour, boom, he's at an hour and then he's popping. Or if you go, hey, I love cum, pop in 10 minutes and then recharge, and 5 minutes later he's good to go. Boom. Okay, and third one is a phenomenal body, just a ripped guy, good looking, good face, good teeth, good eyes, everything. Right now, again,
only 2 of those are good.
2 of these you can only pick the third 2. One. Right. So if you pick a guy who lasts forever and has a perfect sized dick, he's going to be, I don't know, 340 pounds and like kind of greasy, right? Or if you pick perfect body, perfect sized dick, every time you touch his shoulder, he's going to blow a load in his pants.
Yeah.
So please, Aria, build me your perfect man out of these 3 things. Now, let me tell you how Avery last season tried to get around this. She goes, well, the perfect dick size thing, can it be too big? No, we've all seen Lexington Steel scenes. Okay, you can go halfway in. All right,
you just
that's
pop
bullshit.
The head in.
That's
jiggle
bullshit.
It around.
Okay,
it's like
so
an
no.
earthquake in there.
So please, Aria, if you will, build me your perfect guy.
Dad bod.
Oh, really? Well, what is a dad bod?
Would that count?
No,
is that something you would like?
Yeah.
She's a liar. No.
No, I enjoy dad bods. It's totally fine with me.
Okay, so wait, is that one of your plus categories then? So what is he gonna do? Have a small dick, or is he gonna blow his load
what's
immediately?
Your shit category? What category are you picking? Because like basically, what it comes down to is all you're picking is the shittiest, like what you want to be the shittiest aspect of this dream guy. So if you pick cock, he's gonna get a little fucking portobello mushroom cap for a dick that's really, really wide and incredibly short.
But he's going to be able to go forever with that, and he's going to have a ripped body.
But it won't get inside any part of you.
Right.
No. It's going to have to be the body. He can have a bad body.
Okay.
All right. So it's going to be Sam Kinison's rotting corpse.
Okay. Good. That's
I
great.
assume he's like real leathery, you know? I assume he's like a deflated pig. You ever seen a whole roasted pig? Take the texture of that skin and then just let it shrivel inside onto itself. That's his body.
See, I was picturing one of our standard listeners.
That's what I picture our listeners to be like.
Oh, okay. All right, good. We have real contempt for our listeners, Aria, just so you're aware.
We fucking hate them.
You love them. You love them.
Yeah, love them. Shane, do you have any other questions? I'm sorry, I've been taking up all the time.
I did have a question in my head. It was something boner related. You know, it was one of those things that just popped in, and it was like, oh, you ever get a bad fuck on set and like guy comes all over your eyes or something? It was one of those types of questions. But it was an on the fly one. It had just come to my head. So you can take it away.
All right. I have a question for you. So when we were in high school, actually, interesting story. We told this on the podcast. Is this going to be
about when I threw the cum all over the desk?
No.
Oh.
I'm not telling her a funny story you did in high school.
I thought you were gonna prop me up for blowing it there. I thought you'd be like, normally he's a lot more prepared. One time he brought a bottle of cum to school and threw it all over a desk. I thought you were gonna make me sound cool.
No, I think she's too young because you don't remember those black and gray film canisters, do you?
Yeah, the little circle ones.
Yeah, we called them cum containers because Shane fucking filled one up with cum one day and dumped it on a desk in high school. Miss Stubby's class, actually, I believe, English.
I don't remember whose class it was. I just remember there was a fucking it's like this mat of like brown, like coagulated fucking spew on that desk the next day. And I was like, oh, you know,
the
that's what that turns into.
The trailer for this is absolutely all of the faces she's made at everything we've said this entire time. I mean, it's just the funniest one we've done. Okay,
that's the thumbnail right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, let me jump back on topic real quick. So I don't know what the branding of their media company is, but in high school, we went to school with our like sister school. Well, there was a girl who shot a porn scene. So at my graduation party, we all gathered around and I brought it up and we all watched it because I thought it would be funny. She wasn't there. She shot with facialabuse.com. Okay.
It was pretty violent.
Believe you have shot with a sister site of that, and that was Black Payback. Was
Like
that early on it?
reparations?
Probably, yeah. Was that early on in your career? Was that something you maybe wouldn't consider going forward? I have no problem with it. It's not totally my thing, but you did seem to show a lot of everything you ate earlier that day in that scene. A lot of throwing up, a lot of vomiting. Is that out going forward for you, or would you consider shooting something like that again?
No, those were two mistakes that aren't
Okay, fair enough.
definitely, yeah.
You learn
definitely
from
wish I
those.
didn't do it.
You know what? We can't learn what we don't like until we try it. And there we go. And then we learn it, and then we never do it again. I feel that way about various kinds of sushi. You feel that way about vomiting on film. Totally fair. I think that's fair.
I feel that way about
Exactly.
maybe liking guys.
All right, we're gonna wrap up here in a minute. Shane, I have one more question. Do you have any questions here for Aria today?
Is it Sack? Is that your next question?
No, but
Because that's
actually,
my last question.
okay, let's go into that, and then I'll ask one more question.
So I mean, it's pretty. Actually, I think we should just make it ack. I think we should take the s out of it, and it should just be animals and kids. Normally, it's shit animal kids. We say those are off the table. No one's gonna ask you to do that. What are you not doing for money? What's the thing that's like no amount of money?
See, let me explain how we've gotten to that point. We've asked other performers in the past, hey, we're taking shit, animals, and kids out of the equation. And a lot of them go like, I wouldn't fuck a kid. And we're like, yeah, we know. Like, that's illegal. You're taking it out of the equation. So what is something you're done with? You're like, I will never shoot that kind of thing. Maybe not even done with, like you've never done it before, but what is a genre of porn where you're like, not interested, not going to ever do that? Set a dollar amount. For Sara Jay, it was actually anal. She was just like, no, I'll never do it. She spent her career never doing that, and I really kind of respect that. Now, would I pay money for a Sara Jay anal scene? Absolutely, I would. But what's something for you that's just out?
Men's feet.
Really?
I like this. Okay.
What's the problem with men's feet?
They're fucking disgusting.
No. I agree. I don't dislike women's feet either, but it's not a kink of mine. Like if someone put a foot in my face, I'd be like, okay, there's a foot. But what is so, I believe earlier in the episode you talked about eating male ass, and now we're saying, bro, get your fucking pinky toe away from my face.
Feet are like gross.
Yeah. I'm like, I'm sorry, I don't want no mangly looking T-Rex feet near me. I'm sorry, because I can wash your asshole and clean that shit to heavenly back, but your feet, there's no saving it. There's no saving. That bitch is gone.
Yeah, you can't clean off like a callus or a corn or an ingrown toenail. Those don't just wipe away. You can cut them
or
out.
Just ugly. You just can't. You can't wipe away ugly on feet.
Now, here's the question though. Have you ever seen basketball player feet? Because they're the worst feet in the world. Google that afterwards. Yeah, Google Kevin Durant's feet after this. Then Google his annual contract and go like, maybe I'd reconsider feet for this one.
Is
Do
it because
something
they have to do a
cool.
lot of jumping, like into the air
Jumping,
to throw
running
the
back and forth.
basketball?
You too, Shane, and the listeners, go Google like basketball player feet. LeBron James's feet are horrendous. Horrendous,
Oh, I
dude.
bet
They
they
look like
fucking smell like
talons.
shit.
So feet are out. Feet are completely out.
All right.
Men's feet.
Anything else?
Anal.
Is out? Have you shot
No
anal
amount of
scenes
money.
before though, or no? You have, right? No?
No.
I thought you shot with.
Congratulations.
I thought you shot with like true anal or all anal or one of those. Yeah. Oh yes, but you were just
But I was
with
the
an.
ass to mouth girl.
Oh, okay.
Oh, so it
Okay.
came out of someone's asshole, went
Oh,
into your
okay.
mouth.
Okay,
Got
fair
it.
enough. And then the second part of that question, she's smiling, folks. Just remember that. If you're listening to this, we're not just hounding her about all these things. The second part of that is not necessarily a discount, but what is a scene where you're like a genre or something else you haven't done yet, where you're like, fuck, man. If they don't reach my normal quote on that, I still would be interested in doing that. Like, obviously, agent, fight for a quote on that. But what is something where you go, yeah, I'd still probably do that if they don't come up to the number I'm thinking of?
Maybe like an all-girl orgy.
Oh, sure. Well,
That was just Tuesdays for my wife, you know.
I'm sure someone
No
would want
boys
to watch
allowed.
that. Yeah.
Because you have to, I don't know, like I said, I'm about my money, so it's like you have to pay me. But okay, let's say like it was like the hottest guy ever. Yeah, I guess I would do it for the low.
Okay, I always say it the same way, and I always need to correct myself. What is a type of scene where you're itching to do, like a type of either fetish scene or a niche or something like that? Is it I don't know. Have you ever shot a gangbang scene? Are you looking to do a bukkake scene? Are you looking like what are you thinking?
I've done everything I want to shoot pretty much. So that's kind of hard. Fuck.
I tell you, man, I tried to bring it up with some folks last go around here. There's an untapped niche for car crash porn. I'm telling you. There's a movie called Crash with James Spader from the 90s. It's about people who either get into car crashes or they cause other people to get in car crashes. And when they see the crash and they're fucking at the same time, they're like, oh, they come really hard. It's like the erotic asphyxiation, It's just not as mainstream yet. And I'm really thinking, man, like if somebody taps into this and makes a market of car crash porn where the people in the car are fucking and then it crashes and then they come all over each other when the car crashes, like it could be huge for people who have this fetish.
Possibly. But I don't have enough money to be crashing cars like that.
Yeah, it's a big investment. That's kind of a hang up there for most people.
Can I last question here? Can I ask you? It's personal, but not too personal, I hope. And feel free to tell me to go fuck myself. You have a Buddha tattoo on your back, I believe, right? Are you a Buddhist?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I think Shane was for a while too. But go ahead.
I grew up in a Christian household, but my family is Asian, so I always had Buddhists around me, and there was never anything taught to me. Nothing taught. It was just Buddhas were in my house, and I was actually drawn to them at like the age 5 or 6. And I wouldn't say I'm a full Buddhist, but I definitely read a lot of I don't know where his book is. His book's over here, but Thich Nhat Hanh. I read a lot of his stuff, which he's a Buddhist. So I would say I'm spiritually on my way there.
Is your family Filipino or your household?
Yeah, Filipino is my household. And
Called
then
it.
my cousins are Filipino, my cousins are Korean, and my cousins are Vietnamese.
Yeah, everything you described was like coming out of my wife's mouth too. She was raised Catholic because Filipinos are all Catholic, and then they had Buddhas everywhere because they were all from an Asian country. And then she has like Thich Nhat Hanh books on her desk and stuff. I have a Buddha tattoo also, but it's too hard to pull out my disgusting flabby body out of this tight sweater. So I'm not gonna even try to do that.
So just a quick follow up. So it's on your back. say a guy's back there, he pulls out. Is that like a Buddha money shot or more of like a cum tribute to Buddha?
I think it's a tribute, personally. It's definitely not like one of those sharking type videos where a guy like goes and comes on an unsuspecting woman. It's definitely not that. Let's get that off the back.
Get it off the back. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know if anyone's actually come on Buddha directly, like intentionally. And I don't think I would let someone.
Sure.
But in joking purposes, yes, come on Buddha. But in serious purposes, that tattoo is on my back because it's something that I carry with me and I don't need to see it all the time type shit. You know what I mean? Like,
Totally fair.
some people put tattoos in places where they want to see it. Mine's like, it's on my back. He on my back. He got me. You know what I mean? Okay, whatever. But don't ask me. I'll tell you no. But yeah.
Very cool.
Same with mine.
Very cool.
But
We're so cool.
A few specks of
We
cum
should
to the
meditate.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was Aria Carson. Aria Carson, you can follow her on Instagram at AriaXCarson, on Twitter at the Aria Carson, and go to ariacarson.com. Do you have any final words for our listeners, Aria?
Thanks for watching.
Sure. And Shane, do you have any final words?
Come on Buddha. I think that should be the name of the episode. Come on Buddha with Aria Carson.
Okay. I don't think that's going to be it, but thank you. All right. Thanks for listening.
Oh, yeah, I like that.
Thanks for listening to Your Worst Friend. Going deeper.